August 13th, 2020. From El Cajon in San Diego, California, this is episode 215 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting at his house is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Yep.
Well, before we get started, Mark, I want to make a little addition to last week's podcast.
Okay.
Now, during the podcast, when a caller asked about, who we'd most like to play craps with, I want to make it perfectly clear that my answer foremost and number one is my wife.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. What brought this on?
Well, I was brought to the attention that neither you or I mentioned our wives as who we'd like to play craps with. So due to my coronavirus dementia that I've got, I failed to mention my wife.
Okay.
So there you go. My top three are my wife, Jesus, and you.
All right. I guess I failed to mention my wife as well, too. We didn't mention each other. I thought that kind of went without saying. But
right.
Yeah, we did leave our wives out, didn't we?
Yeah, we left our wives out. I'm at work and I get this text. What the hell? Neither of you said your wives.
Oh, that's great.
So I gotta rectify that if I'm planning on sleeping in the bed for the next few weeks.
Well, it's very interesting you bring this up because one of our callers actually does talk about that.
Oh, really?
Specific situation. Yeah, the dream table. So we'll wait until we get to that call. It's sort of related to what you just said. Not quite, but sort of related. So
chances are he doesn't have my wife on the table.
No. Yeah, right. Dr. Mike's wife. That would have been the great one if a listener had come up with that before you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, then I would be in some deep trouble.
Well, how are you feeling? Doing okay? Family okay?
Doing okay. Yeah, everyone's good. Same for you guys, I assume.
Yeah, doing okay. So we're weathering it. Yeah.
I hope that things here in San Diego are improving. It seems as if the number of cases is down and things look good. So hopefully we'll continue on that path.
Yeah, I hope so. It'd be nice to kind of get back to normal, sort of. Well, our good buddy Jim from New York was in Las Vegas in June, and he tweeted quite a bit while he was there to just let people know what was going on. And one of the things he tweeted about was a new game that he saw at Harrah's called Vegas 3 Poker. And it's stylized so that the S in Vegas is a $sign. Vegas 3 Poker. And he thought that it would be a game that we would like, and I agree. So we're going to talk about it now. You want to learn about it, Dr. Mike?
All right, I'm ready to learn about a new game.
All right, here we go. So it is a 3-card poker game. You play it with a regular 52-card deck, and the idea is to have a better 3-card poker hand than the dealers. And the ranks of the 3-card poker hands are the same as the traditional 3-card poker in a casino. The best hand is a straight flush, then 3 of a kind, then a straight, then a flush. That's always the interesting one, right? A straight is better than a flush. Then a pair, and then just high card. So when you start playing, the player just puts out an ante bet. And then the dealer deals out all the cards, 3 cards to each player and 3 cards to himself, everything face down. So the player looks at his cards, and at that point, he can either make a raise bet that's equal to 2 times his ante, or he can just check. So if he's got a particularly good hand, he's going to make that raise bet equal to 2 times the ante. And if it's not that good a hand, he can just check. Even if it's garbage, he can just check at that point. Then the dealer deals out a single community card, face up. That's a card that everybody on the table, including the dealer, is going to use to make the best 3-card hand. So now, if the player previously checked, he can make a raise bet only equal to his ante bet at that point. He can't make it twice. He can only make a bet that's equal to the ante bet, or he can fold.
Okay, so far I think I've got this.
Okay. So at that point, then, the dealer reveals his hole cards. Okay. And everybody at the table is going to make the best 3-card poker hand that they can using their 3 down cards and the 1 community card. Okay. The dealer needs at least ace queen to qualify. If the dealer does not qualify, the ante bets are just an automatic push. Okay. So again, dealer doesn't qualify, ante bets are a push. But then the hands are still compared at that point. It's not like the game is over. So if the player has the higher hand, the ante and the raise bets will be paid at even money. The ante bet, though, will only be paid if the dealer has qualified. So just to clarify, if the dealer hasn't qualified and the player hand beats the dealer hand, just the raise bet gets paid at even money.
Just the raise bet. Okay,
right.
That's good. So.
Right. But if the dealer has qualified and the player beats the dealer's hand, yes, both bets get paid at even money. If you have the exact same hand as the dealer, it's a push. And if the dealer has the higher hand, then the ante and the raise will both lose. Again, if the dealer has qualified. If in the weird case where the dealer has not qualified and the dealer's hand beats the player hand, only the raise bet will lose. So did you follow that? Basically, the point is when the dealer doesn't qualify, the ante is the ante's returned to the player. They actually push it back to the player, right? And then only the raise is looked at. And that's it.
Well, hopefully, if the dealer doesn't qualify and still beats the player didn't make a raise bet.
Yeah, you would think so, right? If the dealer's hand is that bad, you're hoping that the player didn't stay in with something that's worse than ace queen.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the whole game. And I think one of the reasons that Jim thought we might like it is that it's relatively simple, but it's a little more interesting than just regular 3-card poker. And the house edge is very small for a carnival game. The Wizard of Odds says that, he doesn't actually say house edge. He says element of risk is 0.41%. And the reason it's element of risk as opposed to house edge is because it's one of those games where you're going to be risking different amounts depending on how you've played it, right? Sometimes it'll just be an ante.
Right. Sometimes
it'll be 3 times your ante, sometimes twice your ante. But element of risk, 0.41%. And so he thought we'd like that.
Yeah, that's not bad. That sounds like a decent game.
Yeah. And then according to the Wizard of Oz, here's the strategy. Before you've seen that community card, you should make the large raise, that is the 2 times ante raise. If you have a pair of 3s or higher, or if you have a pair of deuces and an ace high with a straight or flush draw, or if you have king 9 high or higher with both a straight and a flush draw. So that's kind of a lot to hear on a podcast. But if you want to try to memorize this, just go to the Wizard of Odds. Then with the small raise, if you haven't raised that first time and the community card's exposed, you're supposed to make that one-time raise with ace, queen 10 or higher when an ace is the common card, in other words, the community card, or king, queen 10 or higher when king or queen is the common card. So anyway, I know that's kind of, again, on the podcast, it's like, what, Mark, can you repeat that? No, just go to the Wizard of Odds and you can see the basic strategy. But that's the game. And there are a couple of side bets. There's a 3-card side bet and a 4-card side bet. And basically, all you're doing is betting on, you'll get paid if your 3 cards are, a certain good hand. And you'll get paid if your 4 cards are a certain good hand. So, it's just a typical side bet.
Right. That sounds interesting, I guess. I'd probably play that for a while.
Yeah, you'd play it for maybe 3 or 4 hands, and then you'd go over to the craps table. But that's
right.
That's decent. You're giving the game a chance in that case.
I'm giving it a chance, yeah. 3 or 4 hands. If I'm winning, I might stay for another couple.
Yeah, another couple hands. Yeah. Plus, you're making the side bet, so you may win big on that.
Right.
Anyway, Jim saw that at Harrah's, Las Vegas. So not sure if it's still there, but there you go. Vegas 3 Poker.
Yeah, I wonder how much they like that small element of risk there.
Well, I imagine people are not following basic strategy very well. They're probably staying in maybe with hands that look better than they are. like,
Right.
I don't know, inside straights or, stuff like that where they probably shouldn't be staying in.
Or somebody who has like 2 clubs hoping that fourth card's a club.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking is happening. Right, yes.
That's probably the big enticement. Like, oh, I got a 1 in 4 chance. If a club comes up, I got a flush.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm sure that's what it is. I'm sure the casino's counting on that.
Now,
there's probably a pit boss standing right behind the dealer saying, well, I don't know. You got 2 clubs there.
That's right. 2 clubs. You just need 1 more. Wait for that community card.
The deck's full of clubs.
And I mean, to really answer your question, well, I don't know that this game is going to be successful or not, right? So it really depends on how much people play it and how much money they win. But anyway, new game. So there you go.
Good. Well, it's fun that they come up with new games. I like that. I like that there's always something new out there.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's get on to some voicemails. If you remember on our last episode, we told a story that a listener sent us about correcting a dealer mistake at the Pai Gow table and how the dealer would have had to pay the casino out of her own pocket if she hadn't fixed the mistake right when it happened and the casino found out about it later. Well, we got a lot of feedback about that story, including this voicemail from Casey.
What's up, guys? It's Casey from SoCal here. Just listened to your latest episode and had a couple things to say about other callers' statements they had made. For one, the one with the dealer on the Pai Gow table potentially having to pay for a mispaid bet. That sounds insane. I assure you 99% of casinos would not require a dealer to pay the casino back if they mispaid a bet. I mean, you could imagine if somebody, for example, had a $5,000 bet on blackjack or baccarat and the dealer paid a push that should have been a push and they paid it as if it won or something like that. There's no way a casino could require the dealer to pay that. I mean, that's more than their wages for a couple of months. So that sounds insane. I'm curious what casino chain that caller would have worked for that would require that of the dealers, and they should all go find a job elsewhere if that really is the case, because that's just completely nutty. Secondly, you had a caller talking about video keno versus slot machine payback, and I think he's mistaken. For the most part, most casinos have keno in the high 80s to maybe up to 92, 93% return to player. And it's unlikely that they will have any slot machines that return that much unless you're talking about, dollar denomination, $5 denomination slots, which are anywhere from, $3 to $50, $100 a spin. Versus on video keno, you can expect those high 80s, low 90s returns, even betting one quarter. So anyhow, those are my 2 thoughts. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about it. Thanks for the great show. And keep doing what you do. Good luck. Hopefully I'll catch you down at Harrah's one of these days.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Casey. So that was a lot of the feedback was what, dealers having to pay for their mistakes. And Casey brings up a good point, right? What if you're in the high limit room and it's some huge mistake like that? So all we can do is tell the story like we heard it. And maybe there are some cases where dealers have to pay to make up their mistakes up to a certain point, or they're docked pay in some way. I don't know. What do you think, Dr. Mike?
Well, I think if a casino was going to require a dealer to pay back mistakes, it would probably be a individual casino, right? Not a chain.
Yeah.
So like a small local casino where they just wanted to put the fear in the dealers, because maybe the dealer lives in that area and maybe it's a lot of locals. And so they don't want to have a situation where my neighbor comes in here a lot, and maybe I'll just, make a couple mistakes here and there.
Yeah, right.
Something like that. Now, I can't see a large casino corporation doing that. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I could see a small casino doing that.
Well, anyway, like I said, I would think that some casinos probably have some kind of policies like that in place. But I think Casey's probably right. It's not something that most casinos would do. And, maybe instead a dealer would get put on probation or get a warning or who knows.
Yeah. I mean, who knows,
Sure,
right?
Who knows? Only people who work in the industry know. And maybe they're telling us...
Even some of those might not know,
Yeah. And then, as far as the video keno goes, we should have brought this up last time. Video keno, in general, does have a lower house edge than regular keno, the kind of keno that you would play in the restaurant or within the casino. Regular keno has a terrible house edge of around 25%. It depends on the card you're playing. But it can be really high. Whereas video keno, the house edge can be as low as 8%. And it's a combination of things. Number one, the pay tables. So generally the pay tables are better on video keno. And also video keno games generally have little gimmicky things that go along with it. Like if the last ball drawn is one of your numbers, then your payout is doubled, or, things like that. If they come in a certain order, things like that. So it is true. Right. You find the right video keno machine, it can have as good a house edge as a slot machine, say.
Right. The only problem with video keno is, first of all, there's no runner. And I like to see a runner come by. Mm-hmm. That's number one. Because, then you can make comments about the runner, like, where are they?
Sure, right.
What are they doing?
I'm ready for the next game. Wait a minute, the numbers are coming up. We don't have our cards yet. Where's the runner?
Right. Where's the runner? That's the fun in regular keno.
Okay.
Plus, you're usually at a cafe playing it. And how many times do you get to bet while you're eating?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we do have another call about video keno. So let's hear from Brent.
Hey guys, last episode you got a call about why anybody would ever want to play keno. And I think a lot of people get really bogged down in the idea of house advantage. Keno is one of those games where you can often play for a nickel or a quarter. I mean, if you're playing a quarter a game, you're losing 3 or 4 cents on average for each roll. And when you think about it, that's just really not much money. So although there's a large house advantage, the EV, the expected value, can be pretty small. And I also want to say, Dr. Mike, you are a bizarre person. You've got your dream craps table. You can put anyone you want at it, and you put no women, but you're super excited about having Einstein at your table because Einstein might lure some women. Remind me to never go bar hopping with you. Thanks, guys. Brent from Georgia.
All right, so there you go, Mike. What do you think?
Well, Brent, Einstein was a well-known woman's man. But like I said earlier, it's my wife. That's the woman I want at the table with me.
All right. And again, his point is don't pick Einstein, pick women. That was his point.
Yeah.
All right.
Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, something like
Maybe
that.
Einstein brings Marilyn Monroe, right?
Okay, all right. That's what you really wanted to say is my dream table will have Albert Einstein and his date.
Yeah.
All right. So,
well, how many times have we said, Mark, that we don't go to Vegas for women?
Let's clarify this. Even before we were married, we didn't go to Vegas for women.
Women was something we did everywhere but Vegas. And as soon as we got to Vegas, it was craps.
That's right, exactly. All right, good. So that's clear. Next call.
Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike, it's Brian from Nebraska. Just calling with 2 different questions for you. I was in Vegas here 2 weeks ago. The first time I was playing the Mississippi Stud, and pit boss came over and said, hey, they called down and we shortchanged you $100 on a payout about a half hour before that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Didn't know if that's ever happened to you guys or not. And I'm sure I should have noticed it, but of course I didn't. And then second question, playing craps. What's your thoughts on, is it okay to buy in between the points or waiting for a new shooter? I always wait till it's a new shooter, but of course I walk up to the table and they asked if I wanted in. I said, no, I'll wait till he's done. And then he proceeded to shoot, probably 4 points, and then did buy in. And of course I lost all my money in about a round and a half of the table. So just curious what your guys' thoughts are on buying in between the points. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, we follow the etiquette that you can buy in on a come out roll. So we don't necessarily wait for the next shooter, but we will wait for a come out roll.
Yeah, I usually wait until the guy makes his point. and then I buy in because that's a good time, right? There's a lot of stuff going on at that time. You're not really slowing the game down much then.
No, because a lot's going on. And if a 7 comes up, if your buying in has actually caused a 7 to come up, well, that's fine because it's the come out roll.
Right. And that's a good time for it. So, yeah, I think that's okay.
The only time I might not do it is if it was some huge monster roll. Oh, we've got 5 points to the fire, something like that. Then I might wait just because it's like, I probably shouldn't buy in at all. But yeah, otherwise, when we go up to a table, we just sit with our money and then we wait for the come out roll. Now, Mike doesn't do that every time. I don't think we've mentioned this on the show, but I think it was before the pandemic. You just bought in the middle of a roll. You didn't even look.
I swear to God, I looked and I thought, oh, he's coming out. And I don't know why I didn't see the puck. If you remember, there were no place bets, right?
Yeah, there weren't many bets on the table. That's true.
There were a couple people on that side, but nobody had made a place bet. So I just looked and saw no place bets, and I thought, oh, we're coming out. And I didn't even see that the puck was on 10 or something.
Meanwhile, I've taken the money out of my wallet, but I've just put it in the rail there. And, I'm just kind of, my hands are folded. I'm patiently waiting. And I look over, and suddenly Mike's throwing his cash down on the felt.
Yeah. Yep, that was funny. I was the Adolf that day.
yeah, you were. But anyway, yeah, a come out roll is fine to buy in, even if it's in the middle of somebody's roll. Yeah. Now, as far, we've never experienced this ourselves, but we definitely have heard of people who've been at a table and, the pit comes up and says, hey, we owe you X number of dollars from about 45 minutes ago. The dealer made a mistake. We've heard stories like that, but we haven't actually experienced it.
No, I'm waiting to walk up and them say, hey, we owe you $6,000 from the other night.
Yeah, really?
Our fault, sorry.
That's right. When the 7 came up, you walked away, Dr. Mike, but it was the come out roll. You still had $6,000 on the table. You just walked away in a huff.
There you go. Oh, in my dreams. That'd be my dream.
What I'll do, I'm going to go in early. When you're at the cashier, I'm going to run up to the pit and say, yeah, tell Mike when he gets here that the casino owes him $10,000. And I'll just sit there with a big grin on my face.
See how high I get and how deflated I can be when they tell me it's a joke.
Good one, Mark.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is Nick.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nick from New Jersey. I'm just calling to give you a little trip report and a little question that I've had. So I took a nice long walk all the way to my computer in my living room, and that's the casino that I've been visiting ever since the start of quarantine. I've had some luck at this casino, going on different trips to PokerStars New Jersey, ACR, and PokerStars home games, and I've been able to run my bankroll up to a nice $1,500 profit, which has been nice.
Nice.
I've seen in the recent podcast that you guys have been having your own Poker Stars home games, and was curious if you guys have ever thought about having a fun fan game with all the fans of the podcast that you guys have with You Can Bet on That. I think it'd be a really great opportunity for all of us to kind of get together and see each other without actually seeing each other, seeing how you guys play. And I've known that I listen to all your podcasts, and it's really interesting to see how you guys seem to be very good at poker, and I would love a good challenge. The other thing that I just wanted to touch base on, I was home recently, and I saw my brother, and he told me a story about a time that he went to Atlantic City and was on the blackjack table. Well, on the blackjack table, he was with his girlfriend, and there became a time where they were just playing heads up against the dealer, and my brother turns to his girlfriend and says, I think we're going to play the side bet on this one. He tells the dealer before she deals the hand, hey, I'm going to play the side bet on this one, and goes to reach for the chips. The dealer, before he's able to put the bet down, starts to deal the cards, so his hands are basically on his chips, motioning over to get in place on the side bet. And she says once the cards are out, they can no longer place the bet. Turns out once the cards were dealt, he hit I think it was the 3 queens with the hearts, which pays $1,000 to $10,000. So he missed out on a $10,000 hand because of miscommunication with the dealer. They had them check the tapes, but because the bet wasn't actually placed on the felt, they were unable to count it. I know if I was put in that situation, I'd be pretty livid. And I just wanted to get your input. Have you ever had something like that where a dealer might have cost you a significant amount of money because of a miscommunication or because they did not realize what you said? I know I would be pretty upset if I lost out on $10,000. But my brother looks at it like it happened and there's nothing.
You got cut off there. I don't make side bets. Very rarely do I make side bets. Has there ever been a side bet, Mike, that you intended to make and weren't able to, and then it would have been a huge payout?
No.
Yeah,
God,
I can't think
I
of
would
anything
definitely
like that.
remember that.
The only thing I can remember is a story that I think we told on the podcast a long time ago. And I think it went like this, and Jim from New York can correct me if I'm wrong. He's really good at correcting my mistakes. But we were both playing Ultimate Texas Hold'em. I think it was in Venetian. It might have been Palazzo, but I think it was Venetian. We'd been having
sounds right.
real bad luck at craps. And so you were in a pretty bad mood. And it's like, you didn't want to go to bed yet, but you still wanted some action. So we sat down at Ultimate Texas Hold'em. And you intended to make the whole card bonus bet, which is just a bet that will pay if your 2 down cards are something good, And you tried to make the bet, but the dealer had already started dealing. And even as she was doing it, it's like, I wanted to make this bet. I wanted to make this bet. And it turns out you were dealt ace king, which would have paid 15-1. I mean, it's not a huge amount, but 15-1. And I remember you were pretty upset.
Yeah, I remember that. I was so mad.
You were in a bad mood to begin with, and yeah.
Right, you were trying to calm me down. I was so mad. I was like, what the?
But the dealer was just going so fast. And, obviously you made your base bet initially, as most people do. Maybe we should get in the habit of making the side bet first if you're going to do it. But you did that, and she saw it and then just started dealing. And, yeah. Yeah,
you know what? If I remember correctly, too, I made some comment to her like, could you slow down? Do you have to deal this fast?
Yeah.
Can you just slow down enough for us to make our bets? Yeah, she was not happy about that either.
Well, and, it was just the two of us at the table, too, right? So it wasn't like there were other players. Actually, this might be good advice. If you intend to make a side bet, make the side bet first before you make the basic bet on the table.
Right, because then they won't deal because they can't deal to you just a side bet. You have to make a regular bet.
Right.
So, they would say, what's your bet?
Yeah.
So, that would stop that. That's good advice. I never thought of that, but that's perfect.
Yeah, I didn't either until I was just kind of saying it. Yeah.
The only way his brother was going to get paid on that is if the pit boss was related to him or, was his best friend, or maybe Einstein was in the pit, something like that.
Something like that.
Other than that.
No, it's just, think about the eye in the sky, right? The eye in the sky sees the cards coming out, and there's no way.
Right. There's just no way. Yeah. Frustrating.
Yep. Well, Nick's talking about a home game maybe that we set up. And I'm thinking, that actually might be a pretty good idea. Just have listeners be able to play. We all play together in a tournament. I was thinking about it. I thought, well, I don't really want to make it like an ongoing thing, like a regular weekly thing or something like that.
No, just a one-timer. Maybe,
one-timer.
Once every quarter.
And I'm also thinking I don't really want it to be something where people pay to enter, like an entry fee, and then there's a kitty and we split it up, because that's a whole other hassle too. Especially I'd kind of like to open it up to everyone, all listeners, and trying to coordinate the cash and everything like that. That might not be good. But what if we had a tournament where you and I just provide the prizes? I mean, they could still be monetary prizes or gift cards or something like that, and maybe even like bounties on the two of us. So, whoever takes us out of the tournament gets some kind of bounty, some money or something like that. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know. The bounty thing. I mean, I can't see anybody taking me out.
Oh my God.
I'm just going to throw that out there. I mean,
all right. Just a bounty on me then, since apparently Mike's going to be winning the whole thing.
It's not that I'm not good at Texas Hold'em.
Nah.
It's just that it's not enjoyable.
That's right. You're going to crush the game. You just hate playing it.
I just hate playing it. It's just, hey, but no, that's a good idea. I like that idea.
Yeah.
We'll come up with something. We'll give away some prizes.
Yeah.
Shoot, we could get 200 or 300 people maybe playing. We'd have a big old, we'd have to allot a whole Sunday or something.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is maybe a Sunday. Like maybe right before football season starts, if it does start, like the Sunday before, because, maybe people are going to get into that mode where they're, staying at home on that Sunday. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, around noon Eastern time, something like that. Let's talk about this between the two of us, Mike, before the next episode, and then maybe we'll have an announcement. In the meantime, if you want to go out and create a PokerStars account, if you don't have one, just go to PokerStars. It's absolutely free. We would be playing with play money on their home games option, where, we can specifically invite certain people to play. That's how we would do it. And it's just for play money on PokerStars. You do have to spend $20,000 in play money chips to enter the tournament, but every 4 hours you get 15,000 free play money chips anyway. You don't even have to be logged on that whole 4 hours. Just every 4 hours
and you get a certain amount for just signing up, right?
Yeah, I'm sure you get something for signing. I can't remember what it was. But people who are interested in maybe doing this, get your PokerStars account right now. Download the app. I think it now works on mobile devices. It used to be the home games option didn't work on mobile devices, and I think it now does. But then, maybe next episode we'll have some more details and we'll do this. It'll be fun.
Yeah, the only thing with mobile devices is it seems to have some problems with that.
You think so? Because I've been
time problems.
Oh, have you
been playing on yours?
No, I've been using laptop, but that's true. If you're using a mobile device and like walking around, like we've got a home game where one of the guys was on a walk and he was, doing it on his phone and it worked good sometimes, but then all of a sudden he'd be disconnected, if he lost service or something like that. But the app does at least accommodate the home games option now.
Yeah, if you have a stationary computer though, it's so much better. You got a good signal.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Yeah, so let's think about that.
Yeah, that's a great idea,
yeah.
Nick. That's really a good idea. We're gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
It might be a little hard. We might get too many people.
Oh, there's no such thing. It'd just be a big tournament. But yeah, it might go on for a while. That's the thing. You're right.
Yeah. About halfway through, people are just all in. Oh, I got 2-6. I'm all in. I can make a straight.
Hey, now it sounds like you know how to play Vegas 3 poker.
Yeah, right.
All right. Next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Steve from the San Francisco Bay Area. I have a northern Nevada trip report for you. Went to State Line, South Lake Tahoe, and Reno. So I took a trip on Thursday to Tahoe so I can play in the seniors event on the WSOP online. The rule is you must be in the state of Nevada or New Jersey to play. The plan was to stay at Harvey's or Harrah's and play from the room. My normal host did not respond to my room request, so I called the VIP hotline on the Caesars app about 30 minutes out, and the agent was perfect. She got me a mini suite at Harvey's and reservations for dinner at Friday Stations at Harrah's. My current level is just shy of Diamond Elite. So the casino was pretty dead when I arrived at 11 a.m. Craps was not running. I later found out that Harrah's was running the only table on day shift for $25 minimum, 3 to a side. So the online poker tourney started at 3 p.m., but the app was having trouble verifying my location as being in Nevada. Luckily, I set up the app on my phone and I walked east away from the state line. Eventually, it let me play when I walked almost to the end of the Hard Rock Casino next door to Harvey's. I was able to sit in the hotel lobby and play on my phone, but if I walked further west into the casino, the app would complain and drop me as not being in Nevada. So for about 2 hours, sitting in the lobby, I got tired and I decided to get in my car and drive further east into Nevada and just kind of look for a good parking spot to play from. As I drove east on US 50, I decided just to go down the hill into Carson City and then continue driving into Reno while playing. I eventually arrived in Reno and found Harrah's Reno all boarded up. I pulled into the Silver Legacy parking lot and checked the Eldorado properties. I went to the Eldorado first because I recalled them having the better crap dealers. Unfortunately, no tables were running. This was around 6 p.m. I decided to grab some dinner. After dinner, I went downstairs to the Silver Legacy, and I found one $15 craps table, 4 to a side. Nice thing was, the field bet was paying 3 times, 4-12. I observed the table for a while I was still playing the WSOP event. Unfortunately, I busted out about an hour later, about 75 out of the money. I bought into the table shorter than I'm used to. Since the table was playing small, I played my usual strategy, but conservative. I grinded out a nice win after starting in the hole. I do have to say I was a little self-conscious as I was cashing out because of just everybody was playing low, and I don't like to be playing the biggest at the table, basically. They did have an internal cashier station for more privacy, and I would make sure that I would use that next time if I ever came back. So back to Tahoe I drove, and I played at Harvey's and lost a few. Harvey's was $25 minimum, 3 to a side. I then headed to the Hard Rock and had a very nice session. They were running 15 minimum, 4 to a side. The next morning, I finished out my trip with a small loss at Harrah's. So in total, I had 4 casino sessions, approximately 5 hours total, for a net profit of $1,600. You know, I should really drop those morning departure sessions.
Exactly.
That's it, guys. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.
Good. All right. Well, thanks for the report. Yeah, anybody who's ever been to South Lake Tahoe, Harrah's and Harvey's, they are right on the state line. I mean, there's a street that basically separates California and Nevada. And, you know, the Harrah's building is just right there. So it's just right as soon as you can get into Nevada. And so apparently, yeah, his phone couldn't absolutely guarantee he was in Nevada till he went a little more ways into the state.
Yeah, those two casinos, too, Harrah's and Harvey's, are kind of like adjoining.
Yeah, they've got like an underground thing, don't they? It's not it goes underground, right? Not overground. It's like a tunnel to get from one to the other.
I think it's like a tunnel. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But there is no more Harrah's Lake Tahoe, right?
No, it's Harrah's Reno that closed down. Harrah's Lake Tahoe is still there.
Still there, yeah. Yeah, I was sad about Harrah's Reno because that's where my wife's brother lives. And
well, it was like the first one too, you know.
Right, I know it's an older one.
But Steve, we want to confirm something here. So you said you drove basically from South Lake Tahoe to Reno. That's a good hour drive, probably a little bit more than that. And you were playing in the tournament the whole time? I don't know that we can condone that. That's even if you've got it kind of propped up there. You know, you've got to look at people's bets and look at your cards and the flop and the turn and everything. I don't know. And, you know, especially...
It could have been sitting out, Mark.
Oh, that whole hour? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, let's give him the benefit of the doubt then. Let's say that he was sitting out that whole time, being a responsible driver. And okay.
What I don't understand is how he was able to play craps and play in the tournament.
Oh, that's
at the same time.
I can understand that. Craps is just too slow. You know me at the craps table. I'm like rolling my eyes and pacing. All right, let's hear from Zach.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Zach from New Jersey. I just did a road trip across the country, and I'm going to be in San Diego for the next 2 years. I decided to try out your casino, Harrah's, Southern California. I've been there about 3 times so far. And last night I had an interesting experience. So me and my buddy, we went to go play some craps there. And, you know, on a Friday night, it's packed and the table limits are like $25, $50, way too rich for our bankrolls. So we ended up settling on the hybrid craps. And I was really skeptical at first because I didn't really like the computer screens. I like to have physical chips in my hands. I feel like that's half the experience at the casino. And the roll was going fine. Everything was fine. And then it comes to be my roll. And I established a point on a 5. So I put down $50 odds on my 5. And then about 2 rolls later, I end up hitting the 5. And to my surprise, I look down and I'm only getting paid on my pass line, $15. So I say to the stick man, I'm like, hey man, I had $50 odds on my pass bet and I didn't get paid for it. And he basically tells me that I did something wrong. I'm like, no man, check the tapes. And he calls over the pit boss, and he basically tells me it sucks to suck. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe I did do something wrong. So I put $15 down on my pass line again, and I roll, and I establish another point of like 8 or something. And to everybody's surprise, we look down at my thing, and my pass line bet is gone. So So now there's something really sketchy going on. So I tell the stick man, I'm like, hey, look, my pass line is gone now. And that's a bet that gets locked in. So there's no way I could have messed something up with that. He calls over the pit boss calls over the floor manager. And I tell him, like, hey, man, my money's just disappearing into thin air. Like, you can check the cameras that are right above us and all this. And he's going through the computer.
Now, Zach got cut off there, and I don't know why, because it wasn't at the 30-minute mark, but he just got cut off. Now, it sounds like he was playing the roll to win table that they now have at Harrah's, right? And it's the one where there's a stick man, but everything else is electronic. You do roll dice.
I'm laughing because he got cut off. It's like the casino's doing it to him even on his phone call.
Yeah, right. The casino heard, so they cut him off. But you make all your bets, again, on an electronic pad, kind of like you do at the shoot to win table. So anyway, Zach, call back with the end of the story or catch us at Harrah's Southern California. We're usually there on Friday or Saturday nights. But Mike, I'm worried that the reason behind all this is going to be because Zach didn't realize that they were using cards along with the dice. Now, he said he had been there a couple of times, but I'm thinking he rolls on the come out roll and he establishes a point of 8. Well, what if it was 8 on the dice, but then on the cards it turned out to be a 3, right? And so that's why the pass line bet is not there anymore. I'm kind of thinking that might be it. Because anybody who sat at a roll to win table, you are kind of a back away from the table more than you are at a regular craps table. You're
right,
you're in a chair because the screen there. And I actually played some this last week for the first time because I was waiting to get on one of the regular tables. And I noticed that when I wasn't shooting, I wasn't even looking at the roll of the dice. I didn't want to kind of stand up and lean over. Only when I was rolling did I look at the dice. And maybe this happened to Zach, same kind of thing, where he didn't really look at the dice or even realize there were cards when he wasn't rolling. He was just looking at, the display coming up. So I might be wrong, but I'm thinking that might be what happened in Zach's case.
It could be. But I'll tell you what, Zach, if you're there again on a Friday night, come up to us. Then if you have any problems, just yell out Dr. Mike and we'll get that squared away.
Yeah, Dr. Mike has more pull at that casino than the floor.
Or I'll just yell, winner, pay him.
That's right. And the dealers, that's their cue. They pay.
Yeah, right. I wish it worked that way.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Brian calling from Phoenix. I'm a longtime listener, first-time caller. Haven't had a chance because of COVID to get to Vegas this year, but obviously your podcasts are helping out, and I've been really jonesing to go. But it reminded me of a story that I wanted to ask you guys about that happened last summer that I forgot to call about. So a buddy and I were having just a boys trip, and we were flying from Phoenix to Vegas, which was kind of silly because it's a short drive, but it's monsoon season in, July, August. So our flight gets delayed. We finally get there probably about 4 hours later than what we should have. So, which is funny because it only would have took about 4 hours to drive there. Anyway, we get there. It's about midnight, 1 a.m, and I'm teaching my buddy craps. I think we're at the park, MGM, and he's doing great. He's getting it. He's on his probably 4th, maybe 5th point. So he, the table, everyone around him there is, making pretty good money. He's low rolling because this is his first time. He's probably playing $5, $10. And in between rolls, he spots one of the guys that we were at a layover at the airport with in between rolls. And he's like, hey, he calls out, the guy to bring him over here. He doesn't hear him. But the pit boss, recognizing, what he's doing, he calls this guy over, this random guy we were, having a drink with at the airport. And as soon as everybody sees this pit boss call this random guy over, everybody starts shaking their head going, oh no, what is going on here? And sure enough, just like in anything you can think of, the very next roll, he sevens out. So, and at the table, just this, group grunt and sigh going, So, of course, I was laughing. I'm telling him, you probably want to keep that mojo going on the table. He, first time he didn't really understand it. But with that being said, I'm sure you guys have some similar stories like that. Is there something that you guys have done or someone's done something like that at the table before? Thanks. Bye.
Hey, all the players could have called their bets off. That was an option that every player had.
That's Mark's usual answer to that. Yeah, I'll tell you something that happens to me almost on a weekly basis, and it drives me crazy. I roll the dice. I have a real crappy roll, probably an immediate 7 out.
Yep.
The guy after me rolls the dice, makes a point right off the bat, turns to me, and as loud as he can yells, "Pass the dice!"
Ooh.
That happens to me every week.
Really? That's out of line. Yeah, that's uncalled for. Wow.
Happens to me every week, Mark.
Yeah. Well, whoever did that, yeah, that's really out of line, especially to do it loudly and in front of everybody. But he makes a good point.
Yeah, he makes a very good point. And actually, last week, I did pass the dice once, right?
Yeah, and I don't think it all really helped that much.
No, I don't think that one helped.
But yeah, Brian, I mean, we've spent so much time at the craps table. We've seen all sorts of stuff. Some people don't like when the cocktail waitress comes up, that breaks the rhythm or, anything, or you hear a jackpot on a slot machine goes off and everybody turns to look. So
the funny thing at Harrah's Rincon is that whenever there is a 7 out, about 85% of the time, the stick person usually will say something that just happened like, "Oh, 7 out. Well, whenever, Seda walks by, 7 out." Or, whatever. They just make up something. It's whenever, the cocktail waitress is here, 7 out.
You make a good point, Mike, because a lot of times people, every time the dice go off the table, every time, somebody buys in the middle of the roll, I'm now going to keep track whenever there is a 7 out. I'm going to keep track of what just happened. And maybe I can figure this all out.
Well, I'll tell you what just happened. Your good friend Mike probably just made, like a hot bet on the 9 for a large amount of money. That's usually what happens.
That could be too. That might be one of the things. All right, I'll start keeping track. All right, last call from Nathan.
Greetings, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nathan from West Palm Beach, Florida. I came back from Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, and I thought I'd give you a trip report. I stayed at the Golden Nugget for 6 nights, as I prefer the atmosphere and lower table limits downtown. Craps at the Golden Nugget had $10 minimums, and they were allowing 4 players per side instead of 3. Limits were $10 at just about every casino downtown, with the exception of Four Queens, where I found a $5 table on weekday mornings. No plexiglass at any craps table downtown either. On the Strip, I only went to the Wynn and the Palazzo, and I was surprised to find a $10 table at the Wynn, so I played there for a bit. They had plexiglass, but one shooter had a good roll, and I was able to miss. I also checked out Casino Quest in the fashion show, where you can learn to play table games or practice sessions using play money chips for $20 an hour. I brought my friend there for a lesson who is not as familiar with the game of craps, and it really allowed him to get more comfortable before heading back to the real money tables. Other than that, if you want $5 tables, there are plenty of them at the local casinos, including Suncoast and Rampart in Summerlin and Santa Fe in the Northwest. Red Rock was a $15 minimum, which I found a bit surprising, but the tables were full. In terms of interesting stories, craps was up and down as it usually is. I parlayed all my hard ways, and I didn't hit a single parlay for the entire trip. So thanks for the advice, Dr. Mike. On the other hand, I did have a hell of a session at the Four Queens. It was toward the end of my trip, and I decided that when my friend made a $5 midnight bet, I would hop on it for $25. Well, it hit. And so that was a nice $750, and I stayed up, and the shooter rolled another 12, 2 in a row, for another $750. So I decided to up my hard 6 and 8 to $100 each, and I threw a quarter on the hard 8 for the shooter. A couple of rolls later, he rolled a hard 8, so I got paid $900, and the shooter got $225 for my bet. All in all, I colored up over $3,200 on that session, and the shooter was pretty happy too. So that was Vegas. Overall, enjoyed the trip. All but one of my favorite restaurants was open, and if anything, had shorter than normal wait times. It was nice having the extra space at the tables, and I had no problem getting on, and my friend and I even had our own pod to ourselves on the high roller. So I'm headed back there in a couple of weeks for a quick trip. Hopefully I'll have some more good luck. And also I started a YouTube channel about craps called Pay the Line, so feel free to check it out. I built a small craps table for the channel, and I've been teaching my 8-year-old daughter how to play. So the other night, I told my daughter that she had to do some chores to earn some money to buy this game she wanted, and her response was, "Aw, Dad, can't I just earn it at the craps table?" So I've either raised her right or really screwed up. I'll let you decide. Okay, bye for now.
All right, what do you think of Nathan as a father there, Dr. Mike?
Father of the year, my friend. Father of the year.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case.
Well, you got to get him started at 8. Otherwise, how are they going to run the crap game in junior high?
Yeah, that is a very good point, Dr. Mike, that I didn't think of. Thank you for saying that out loud.
I mean, it's just too late to start him in 7th grade or something. You got to start early. You really got to start early.
Yeah, before you know it, they're in high school and they haven't hosted one craps game.
All of a sudden, she's like turned 16 and she buys a Mercedes or something with her money she's running the craps game. That's a good girl. That's a good girl.
Yeah, he talked about Casino Quest and Fashion Show Mall. I don't think we've mentioned this before. It's a place where you can go and basically learn the games, play the games, not for real money, just for play, without the pressure of actually being in a casino. So they'll go slowly for you. They'll explain the different bets. It's kind of nice. $20 an hour. I think they have some deals where it can get down to $15 an hour or something like that. But yeah, you just go in and they've got all the major games. And, if you've got questions, they'll answer them. They'll teach you how to play. And not a bad deal, especially if you're alone. It's one thing if you go maybe with a buddy who knows how to play and can tell you. But if you really don't know and you want to learn, not a bad choice. Casino Quest. Again, they're at Fashion Show Mall.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad deal, especially if you're a novice.
Yeah.
And like you said, you don't have anyone to really teach you. Then, that's a perfect scenario.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, not bad. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring PayPal donations. First of all, our good friend James, also Kurt, Justin, Robin from Anytime Gambling, and Nathan. Thanks very much for those recurring donations. Also, a donation from Brandon. Karma donation for my birthday trip to Vegas on August 16th. I'll get you guys a trip report. Please keep staying safe. Well, good luck to you, Brandon. Yeah, that's coming up here in a few days. And finally, a donation from our buddy Andrew. Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. Just returned from a family beach vacation in San Diego. Since I wasn't able to get out to Harrah's, Southern California, I wanted to send along my thanks for keeping me plugged in with the gambling scene through your podcast. Keep up the great work and wishing you many hard 8s. And yeah, Andrew, he used to live out by us and now he's in Phoenix. So thanks very much, Andrew.
Yeah. And Andrew, my dad and mom said hi. They were glad to hear from you. And also they hope everything is safe. Andrew's wife's a physician.
Yeah.
And she's kind of on the front line there. So we're always praying for her safety.
Yeah. Hope everybody's safe. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonThat.com/TV listings and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonThat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We love getting your feedback. What do you got for us, Dr. Mike?
Well, Mark, I just want to make note that we had a winning session out at Harrah's Rincon this last weekend.
Yes, we did.
And it was never in doubt. I mean, we were up from the get-go, and it just stayed up. We never really were in any danger.
It's good. And, it's funny because on the drive up, I said, Mike, let's just have fun tonight. I hate when we go out there and we dig such a big hole for ourselves initially, and then all we're trying to do is get our money back. Let's just go and have fun. And we did.
Yeah, that was good advice, Mark. It's always important to have fun.
Yep.
It's sometimes hard to have fun when you're down $1,000 on the second shooter and you're thinking, what the hell? But things went well, so that was nice.
Yeah, and they added another table.
Exactly. I was just going to say they added another table.
Yeah.
So now they have 3 regular craps tables.
Yeah.
I mean, as regular as you can get in California.
Right.
And then they have the 2 roll to win tables.
Yep.
And then they have the 1 shoot to win table.
Yep. And then they've got the stadium gaming too that also has craps.
Right. There is a ton of craps there. I turned to you last week and said, this is really a craps casino.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It definitely is. The only downside, we mentioned this before, is if you want to play at the real tables and it's a weekend, 25 is the lowest you're going to find for a minimum.
Right. For now, because of coronavirus.
Correct.
And the limited number of people.
Yeah.
But the $50 table, which we didn't get on because there were no seats when we got there, they hit 5 to the fire.
Yep. Yeah.
And had a monster roll.
Yeah, it wasn't just 5 to the fire. Roll. It must have been a lot more because when I walked by, the black chips were so highly stacked on the table for bets. It was something else.
And the funny thing is, after that roll, they all colored up and left.
Everybody left, yeah. But then we went over to that table, and that's where we had our luck.
Yeah, we went over to that table, and we won. And that table was hot for whatever reason.
Yep.
Oh, another thing that was good about Saturday night, they had a little special tournament for 7-star people. Where a host could pick a team of players.
Slots
and
tournament.
They had a little slots team tournament type thing. And my host and his team, we didn't place in the money or anything, but everyone who played got an extra $100 of free play.
Oh, nice.
And that was kind of nice. Yeah. So the year's turning around.
2020 is finally turning around, everybody. Dr. Mike says so.
It's turning around. Trust me on this. As a matter of fact, I'm calling it 2021 now.
Oh, that'll help.
It's weird because 2020 was only about, 7 months long.
Yes.
So.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Oh, sweet mother, I love you, Dr. Mike.